All right, Ms. Savoca, thank you for joining us today. Go ahead and start by telling us what you do here at Flagler Palm Coast High School.
I'm the culinary teacher here at Flagler Palm Coast High School, and I've been here for 8 years. I've known Tyler for about 4 years.
Wonderful. Please tell us about your experiences working with Tyler.
Well, one thing you should know about Tyler is that he has a tremendous memory. When it comes to recipes, he usually only has to make a recipe once or twice, and then he has the ingredients and the measurements committed to his memory. And so when you want to add something different a little bit later on, he's like, nope, that doesn't go in there, but he gets it. He also remembers everything that you tell him. So you have to make sure that when you're explaining something to him that you get your facts correct, because he will get you later on it if you don't say the exact same thing again at another time.
Right.
So you always have to try and make sure that you're right on with the facts.
And that kind of leads into my next question. What kind of challenges have you had to face in the past working with Tyler?
Well, if Tyler's interested in what you're doing or what you're preparing, he will jump right in and go right to work. But if it's a task that he doesn't want to do, he will procrastinate, and then you have to give him a little bit more guidance, you know, one-on-one, and be patient with him and say, okay, Tyler, come on here and help me with this.
Right.
So that's one of the things, you know, and if you get frustrated with him and raise your voice even a little bit, he does think you're mad at him. So that's one of the challenges of working with him.
And it sounds like you were able to overcome these obstacles through experience. Can you elaborate about that?
Well, when Tyler first came to my classroom, he was very shy and he didn't like to be touched. He, you know, I spoke to my class about his disabilities, and they welcomed him with open arms, basically, into my class. You know, it was, like I said, it was about 4 years ago I had him. And I explained that they had to be patient with him. And little by little he started to come out of his shell because he was so shy. He was always afraid that the kids in the class might not like him, or there would be too many people in the class. He was a little bit afraid of crowds back then. But that's not the case now. And by the class welcoming him in, by the end of that semester, he was high-fiving and knuckle-knocking with his friends in the class. And you know, they were really his buddies by the end of the semester. So the kids really just welcomed him in.
That's great.
The first time I worked, Tyler worked a catering event for me. He asked me so many questions. Who's going to be there? How many people are there going to be? What are we serving? What will my job be? But he was just nervous that there would be too many people because, like I said before, crowds kind of freaked him out at that time, which is not the case now. Okay? Once we were set up and ready to serve, he made it through the first serving. You know, he was a little nervous, and he would come and ask me questions. But, you know, once I set him on his job, he usually serves on the line when we do a buffet-style service. Oh, okay. Once he made it through the, you know, service, he was fine.
That's great.
And I would say that patience and one-on-one guidance is the best way to overcome the obstacles with Tyler. You know, you have to kind of give him that one-on-one reassurance.
Right. Can you give us what you think is your best or most memorable experience or memory that you have working with Tyler in the past?
Well, God, there's so many. It's hard to choose one. He loves to work with a large industrial mixer that we have in the classroom, and we refer to it as a Hobart, which is the brand name of the mixer, but he just calls it the Hobart. And we use it only for large quantities of dough or mashed potatoes. So whenever we have mashed potatoes on the menu. All right, so my most memorable. He loves to work with an industrial mixer that's called a Hobart. That's the brand name of it. And we usually make large batches of pizza dough or mashed potatoes in it. And like this week, mashed potatoes are on our menu, so he still gets excited about that. He says, oh, the Hobart, that's great. So he'll go in to the storage area and he will bring the Hobart out. He will take pride in cleaning the whole machine. Okay, and then when we make the mashed potatoes, he wants to be involved in putting in the milk and the butter and everything we use in it, and then tasting them. And then he makes sure that after we're done making the product, he's the first one to jump on the machine, clean it, and put it back away. So he's very good that way in the kitchen.
That's great.
Yeah.
And now to kind of transition into the question about transition, do you believe that students with an autism spectrum disorder who show a willingness and an ability to work should be given more employment opportunities in the county, that if they're able to work, they should be integrated into the mainstream society?
Yes, I really do. You know, especially in Tyler's case, because he's done so much here. He's capable of so much here. I mean, he's even done janitorial work here. You know,
Right.
he did the recycling program. You know, he currently even works as a dishwasher in a restaurant. And you know, I always tell my students that the dishwasher is the most important job in food service because no one wants to eat off of a dirty plate.
Exactly.
Okay, so I mean, he does a very, very important job for a restaurant already. And it's very important to get these students involved in work in our county.
Before you go, can you offer any additional opinions that you have on students with autism spectrum disorders being offered more opportunities in the workplace?
Well, I think that students with autism spectrum disorder can be successful in the workplace, especially in the county. And it's as long as the employer understands the specific needs of the individual and can make some accommodations to allow that person to have a successful work experience, then it'll work out for both.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Savoca, for
Okay.
joining us, and
Thank you,
we
Vincent.
value your interview. Thank you so much.